Hey Sketchy friends, so today I want to share something a little personal. I want to take a look at how my sketching has changed over the years, and if you've ever felt discouraged about your progress, I hope this shows you that growth happens gradually, slowly, and that is okay. The topic of this video really ties in with my 7-day urban sketching at home challenge, which I am revisiting at the moment. It's something I originally did and filmed in January 2021, and I've now revisited it again in June 2025. So in those videos too, I share how my sketching has changed over the last 4.5 years. Interestingly, it's not just the actual sketching technique. I feel like how I think about the sketch and the concept and the composition has changed too. And I'm thinking about so many other things than as a beginner, you're just trying to draw something well, something that you'll be pleased with. But now over the years, it's gone past that, where it's like, well, I hope I'm drawing it well enough, but you're also thinking about a whole bunch of other things as well. So if you want to check out the 7-day urban sketching at home challenge, it's completely free. It's great if you're just getting started with urban sketching or starting to draw things from life. Also, if you're feeling a little too nervous to sketch in public just yet, then this is a really great challenge. You can sign up for it using the link in the description below and then follow along, which I do recommend. Or you could just browse the videos at your own leisure using the playlist link below. There's both the 2021 videos and the 2025 videos. But if you do sign up for the emails, you do get a bit more information and prompts as well. You'll receive the emails on consecutive days, but please do know that you do not need to do the challenge on consecutive days. You can just do it whenever you get a chance, which, funny enough, is what's happened with me in 2025. So back in 2021, I did actually film those videos every day, in consecutive days. And it just shows that's when we were in lockdown in the pandemic. So I had all the time in the world to do that. But in 2025, that definitely hasn't happened. And I've probably had to film them over like 3 weeks or something like that. So just know that there's no pressure to do those drawings in 7 days in a row. You can just do them when you want. So completely free. Check it out in the description below. Today, I just want to show you some of my old sketches and just sort of point out things I liked and didn't like, and maybe my mindset at the time, that kind of thing. And then I want to just show some more current sketches, and hopefully it will just give you a feel for where I was versus where I am now and how long it's taken. And hopefully it might give you a few light bulb moments as well. Basically, the very first attempts at travel sketching that I did was back in 2014, so September 2014. I remember this was a trip I went on to Seattle, amongst other places in the US, and this was basically all I could manage at the time. I think I was jet lagged, in all fairness, but we went to this bar or restaurant, I guess, and they had these cool little lantern holders and this quite nice sort of lettering. And I got out this tiny little A6 sketchbook, and I remember, right, I can do this. No one's really looking at me. I think I can get away with this. It won't take me too long. And that's what I did. And I can see here I'm already just trying to figure out like wet and wet watercolor, and you know, the brown into the blue there was quite nice. Could have been an accident, but it was quite nice. And then just focusing on the Space Needle. I think this was out of our hotel window. Very basic things going on here. Quite a scribbly sky with watercolor. I don't know how I managed to get yellow in the sky. And yeah, just not the best really, but I did it from life and I was trying, you know, and that's the most important thing. I do remember though, after Seattle, we went to Portland in Oregon, and I remember being quite happy with this little sketch of the lunch trucks. I like all the white space, and I felt like I was trying to get perspective here. You can see this building I'm looking straight on, sorry, not building, truck. And then these are sort of fanning off to the left and these are off to the right. So I'm actually, even now, I'm quite proud of this one. I think I was really starting to get the hang of how to draw from life. So I'd really like to thank Craftsy for sponsoring this video. So a couple of months ago, I was actually invited to go and sketch at a jam night, which is not something I've ever done before, but as a musician, it really appealed to me. But people sketching is not something I do focus on all the time. So it's an area I'm less confident in than, say, drawing buildings or landscapes, whatever. But I remembered that there was this class on Craftsy by a really well-known urban sketcher and educator called Mark Taro Holmes, called Sketching People in Motion. And I wondered if this might just help me a little bit if I watched it before I went out to this jam night. It really did. Mark is such a great teacher, and production on the Craftsy courses are just absolutely amazing. So I watched Mark's course and I sort of whizzed through it because I've watched it probably several times over the past several years. And it really just helped me get that confidence to actually be quite loose with sketching the musicians at the jam night. And he actually shows an example with sketching musicians as well. So it was like super, super helpful. Obviously, Craftsy have classes on all different types of creative pursuits. They've got quilting, sewing, knitting, crochet, cake decorating, baking, cooking, drawing, painting, photography, and loads more as well. Jewelry and woodworking and gardening and fitness. So many things. All beautifully produced classes. I've recently learned how to crochet through Craftsy as well, because it's something I really wanted to do. I really wanted to knit, to crochet my own beanie hat. And so I went to the beginner class on Craftsy and got to know all about the beginnings of crochet. I've never done anything to do with textiles in my entire life. So this was a really good primer just on what needles to get and what yarn to use. And then it goes on to obviously teach you some different stitches and that kind of thing. So it was super, super useful. So anything you can imagine within the creative pursuits you can find on Craftsy. And for the first 1,000 people that use my special link in the description below, you'll get 12 months access to Craftsy, any of these classes, for just $1.49. You can use the link in the description below, or you can use the QR code on the screen right now. And this offer is valid for new members only. I'd been trying to teach myself to draw, just from books and from photos, done a lot from photos prior to this. But this really was me stepping out and trying to do things from life. So it's a very different skill. It's a very different thing. But you can see I'm just focusing on just the basic view, like things very straight on, not a whole scene, and just trying to get the basic shapes and some shadows and that kind of thing. That's what I was trying to do. But also at work, I used to sit in my car at lunchtime in the car park and I would draw other people's cars. Not because it was the most inspiring subject matter, because I just wanted to get used to drawing from life. So very small little book, so I could feel like not too conspicuous and I could kind of cover things up and stuff. And, just trying to focus on the key skill of drawing things from life. So that was like end of 2014. I went traveling at the beginning of 2017, and this was when I promised myself that I would draw something every single day from life, no matter how small or basic it was. So I've got a YouTube video flipping through the whole of this sketchbook, but again, just committing to the idea, no matter how bad it was, how bad the drawing was, just committing to the idea of sketching something every single day. And some of them came out well. I liked the sort of drawing here and the use of the heavy black. I was like, okay, I'm okay at drawing things like face on and stuff with lots of contrast and that kind of thing. But when it came to a statue in a park, not so good. So I was just trying everything that I could. I quite like these drawings, basic drawings of architecture. So I was like, okay, that's going not too bad. But then the use of watercolor, not the best. Trying to draw quite tricky things, really, trying to get the texture of a ruined pyramid and that kind of thing, or these petrified rocks and stuff. Not the easiest, really, for a beginner. But, just trying to draw things straight on, or just try and find an easy scene. I was struggling with landscapes as well, because it's, again, quite difficult. So yeah, I think I figured out fairly early on that I liked drawing buildings and like from straight on, and that was going well for me. And I feel like this one was like quite a turning point, this sketch, because I like the jaunty angle that it's sort of bending round, and I'm liking the black of the windows, and I think it's quite graphic. So I really feel like this one was a good turning point for me. It reminded me of some of my sketching heroes like Lapin with the bending, and maybe Ian Fennelly with like the black windows and stuff like that. So I was really trying to channel those people. So I felt like I had a reasonable handle on like the actual drawing. So things like buildings and vehicles and stuff I was getting the hang of, but when it came to like landscapes and textures and the use of watercolor, I was like really struggling. But I just carried on anyway. I just did my best. So as I said, there's a full YouTube video of that one. I think my very first ever YouTube video. So that was 2017. Then this was 2019. So some of you will recognize this one from my Sketch Your Adventures course because I teach this. But here I feel like this is when things really started to happen. And obviously there was a transition between the 2017 book and this one. So there are other sketchbooks in between that. But this, I feel like I really started to get the bright colors going on. And I think I just got some Daniel Smith colors. So switching to artist grade here. So definitely the large pans were Daniel Smith, and some of the smaller ones I think were Winsor and Newton. You can see I was carrying back this big long watercolor tin with me, and you can see how a lot of the colors are even the same. So why am I carrying around so much paint with me? But yeah, you can see here, this was again back a return to Mexico, spent most of 2019 in Mexico. So the colors there were inspiring anyway. But yeah, just really starting to hit it hard with the bright colors, which is something that I do love to use. Still keeping my subject matter simple though. So, you know, just singular images of cars or doors, lots of ornate doors. Again, lucky Mexico is just such an inspiring place to draw. Restaurant fronts, not worrying about what else is going on. Again, like a monument, but trying to figure out how to draw it in a really cool way, like a more impactful way. So heavier colors, really getting the darks in and the white of the page. They're things that I've spoken about in other videos that will really impact your sketches straight away. Loose use of watercolors, not staying in the lines, a couple of splatters. All of that just adds up to a really pleasing sketch. It's just much more dynamic. So yeah, so I feel like in this one, I really started to discover the bright colors. And again, you know, keeping it simple, just drawing the tram, just drawing the shipwreck, just drawing the lighthouse. But I feel like I started to get the hang of how to portray water, mixing color, correct colors or better colors for the ocean, using a white pen to get the spray, and starting to understand a little more how to indicate texture. So like a really big jump in this one from what I showed you in the 2017 one. So this would have been the end of 2019 because I was in Australia. Over those 2 years, a really, really big jump forward in terms of my sketching. And obviously, as I said, in between these sketchbooks, I was sketching, just doing lots of sketching. And I should just mention, guys, here at this juncture, I completely forgot, but I do have an ebook called Sketchy Adventures Around the World. And that actually does show a lot of my sketches from that first travel sketchbook I showed you, 2017, right up to COVID in 2020. So a lot of these sketches from that first book, and then the ones in Mexico and Australia that I just showed you, they're all in that book, along with a few little anecdotes of what happened along the way. So you can see very clearly the progress from when I took travel sketching very seriously into January 2017, right up to March 2020. In addition to that, I've got another book, which is Sketchy Adventures in South Africa. So those are ebooks. They're available in PDF format, and I'll put the links below. But if you want to take a slower look at the sketches over the years to see the progress, then that's a really good way to do it. That was 2019. And then I think this skips to 2023. Just starting to understand how to sketch loosely, sketching on a larger scale across both pages, using a lot more white space, understanding perspective a bit more, starting to experiment with different colors, and also concepts, you know, like drawing something in a lot of detail and focus, and then just indicating other things in the scene. You know, we're moving past like just trying to draw things to actually thinking about, oh, I like using different colors, or painting first and drawing on top, leaving lots of white space. And you know, some of these sketches are not successful at all, but it's fine. This one, a lot of white space, trailing off at the sides, just a few buildings in the middle, tree in the foreground. It's really nice. It's a really nice sketch. And it just proves that like less is more. Starting to really, really focus on shadows and stuff like that. More like journaling in a way, sticking in things and making notes. Oh, like more landscapey stuff in this one, like starting to get better at the landscape stuff. Really liked how some of these ones came out. So this is jumping to end of 2024 now, which wasn't that long ago. So rocks and water, quite challenging, but like really enjoying how I was playing with those things. Sort of collaging items together on one page is something that I'm really excited about these days. Playing with colours, it's one thing I didn't understand as a beginner, and I'm still on a journey with it, is like how to capture a scene not using realistic colours. So those kinds of concepts, you know, so it's what I spoke about earlier, is now starting to think conceptually rather than worrying about how to draw something so it looks right. It's like, right, now we're moving on to other things: composition, white space, contrast, expressive colours rather than actual colours, that kind of thing. Just so much beautiful landscape in South Africa, so it's something that I really want to get a lot better at, and I feel like I definitely am getting there. Like tricky beach scenes, lots of plants and, you know, that kind of thing. But I really liked this sketch. It's actually beginning of this year now, so February 2025. Really kind of starting to get the hang of it, I think. And then just to prove my point about the collaging various items on a page, I really did love this travel sketchbook, again from Australia, end of 2024. Lots of small sketches just pieced together, and they tell the story of where you are. So that's just something I'm really getting into now, is more about storytelling. I feel like I'm a lot more confident with my materials. I'm happy to use less lines in places and more white space. Just understanding that there's a lot more to sketching than just trying to draw something nicely, that there's just so many other variables and other things to think about. But also smaller basic sketches are just as valuable as like the big detailed sketches, and that you don't have to draw everything. I just really loved this travel sketchbook. I really enjoyed capturing my travels along the way, just in these small moments of being able to capture things across the page. So I really hope that has helped, guys, in showing you that, you know, there is growth there. This was 2015, this is 24, 25, and how things have moved along. If you're at the beginner stage and you're just starting to draw out on location in public, just remember, just keep it simple. Just draw simple things. Just get used to drawing in public and not being nervous. And then, you know, over time you start focusing on different things like perspective, shadows and reflections and that kind of thing. Just keep sketching from life and you will get there. But it will take time. But if you enjoy it and you keep doing it, then you're just naturally going to get better. So I really hope you've enjoyed seeing a quick flick through some of these sketchbooks. If you want a longer look at some of them, then I do have videos of them. They'll be in the playlist Sketchbook Tours, which I'll link in the description below. But otherwise, do check out that free 7-day Urban Sketching at Home challenge. I think that will get you off to the races, especially if you have a sketchbook and you haven't started it yet or you don't know what to do, then that will help. And if you want real step-by-step, real-time ink and watercolor instruction, then check out my course sketchyouradventures.com.